Hey, my name is Dustin. I'm with Kruger Instruments and Kruger's Training Academy. We're out here in New York City at the UN building on 42nd and 1st. And basically we're doing a private class for the techs at the UN building so they can test their own backflow devices. And we want to take this opportunity to show you guys the differences between the Kruger TK-1 and the Midwest 8355. We actually repped them both, but we actually came out with the Kruger TK-1 about 6 months ago and it's working pretty well. There's a big difference. So instead of having 3 hoses and 5 valves, we just have 1 hose and 1 valve, which makes it a lot more cost effective. We're selling them right now for $500. That could be different in the future. $500 plus sales tax. We're covering all the shipping. And it's basically just a really no frills gauge. It doesn't even come in a box, you know, like, cause it's actually pretty sturdy. If you look at it, if you compare the two, it's actually a little more sturdy than the other one. And basically, yeah, so we have 1 valve test procedures from ASSE 5000-2015 that allows you to test not only, you know, the double check and the PVB, but also the RP. Any valve you come across, backflow preventer that you need to test, you can use a direction of flow method to test it instead of the differential pressure method, which allows you to use 1 hose and 1 valve instead of, you know, 5 valves or 3 valves and 3 hoses. So let's move in here and we'll take a really close look at the 2 different gauges and the 2 different types of testers. Recording. So if you notice here, they're doing a direction of flow test on check valve 1. So you notice it's going to drop down and your differential pressure across check 1 is where it stops, 8.4. And this is actually, these are in compliance with the ASSE 5000-2015. It comes with pictures. You get these test procedures with them when you get in the box. And essentially, you're using a different method. If you notice the construction, it's a little sturdier, right? This is all copper, brass, hard plastic. There's nothing soft plastic. Notice this, the needle valve is pretty sturdy. It's hard brass. And yeah, let's let them slowly open gauge it. Now we're going to check out the 5 valve Midwest instruments. So if you notice, these guys have them hooked up. They got all kinds of hoses all over the place. They got 5 valves. They got 3 hoses.
Steady. Steady. All right. There we go. Control.
And if you take a look at the valve itself, or the rig itself, it's really kind of like a softer plastic. There's a lot more nuts and bolts to it. A lot more could go wrong. The needle valves are a lot, you know, they're less sturdy. Like the needle valve on the TK-1 is really hard brass. These are like plastic. They're very, you know, they're sensitive. You know, they could end up leaking. And if you also notice the test procedures they're using, you actually have quite a few more tests. So if you notice our test procedures from Kruger's Training Academy, they have basically there's 6 tests, right? So you got check valve 1, relief valve opening point, observe check valve 2 for back pressure, check valve 1 record, outlet shutoff valve, and record check valve 2. The reason you have so many is, as you may know if you're in the industry, is because they're doing a differential pressure test on check valve 2. So when you do a differential pressure test, you have to do a no flow test, and usually you should do a back pressure test as well. So you're actually doing a lot more tests with a lot more you know, steps and everything like that. Whereas with the Kruger TK-1 and the ASSE 5000-2015 1 hose test procedures, you actually only have 1 hose. So you put it, you know, you do a direction of flow test on check valve 2, which negates the requirement to do a outlet shutoff valve tightness and no flow confirmation. So there's fewer steps. These guys are learning.
Okay.
I flipped you over.
Yeah.
I think you should be over here.
Should
Should be,
yeah,
right there.
Yeah, open test valve 4. Open low bleed. Low bleed.
So these guys, while these guys are doing the second test on this side, on the Kruger TK-1 side, see they did a direction of flow across check valve. Well, they're packing up now. See, we did a direction of flow across check valve 2, so it negates the reason for the requirement to
Restore assembling the pre-test condition.
tightness. You don't really care if this is tight because you're doing a direction. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the differences between the two rigs. And if you wanted to contact us, it's KrugerInstruments@gmail.com, or it's 917-887-5613. Of course, you can always check out our website at KrugerInstruments.com.